Hi there, everybody. Visions of Mana is one of the best entries that we've gotten in the Mana series in quite a bit of time, and today, I not only want to rank all the characters and tell you why they're in the particular rankings that they are, but also kind of look over their classes too, and highlight what each and every one of them are good at, and also give you some suggestions on what class changes to use there as well. And distilling 40 different classes down to the best of the best is a pretty tall order, but I am here to deliver it for you, and I do think that that's definitely worth a sub, as I do try my hardest to get 100,000 subscribers. With your help, your like, and your sub, I just know that I can get there. So, thank you so much for that, and now let me deep dive into Visions of Mana and start ranking these alms of mana from worst to best. And kicking things off as the worst alm of mana is Karina. This little southern spitfire can definitely talk the talk, it's just too bad that she can't walk the walk. Don't get me wrong, as Val's first companion, she does come in handy at the beginning of the game, and I do like her personality. But in battle, she's kind of like a jack of all trades but master of none, which really just doesn't work in a game like this. So once you do get your fourth character, you're really just going to want to swap her out and pretty much never have her in your party again. The problem just kind of lies in her skill set. I mean, that is, she mostly just kind of relies on buffs and debuffs, which are actually quite good in this game, but they're pretty much only useful during boss fights. You're really not going to want to be buffing and debuffing up your party during regular random trash mobs. And then, when she does cast her one buff or debuff during that boss fight, what else really is there for her to do? Answer, not much. So she and Ramco inevitably just kind of run around like morons until she ends up dying. Another annoying thing is that her best class combinations, such as Salamando and Shade, come later in the game. You know, whenever you already have better characters to work with and she's already benched. Coming up at number 4 is Jule. Similar to Karina, I do like Jule as a character, although I could do without his singing. It's like hearing an alley cat screaming, it's just so bad. But while Karina joins up first, Jule joins up last. And not just an hour or two after the fourth character, it's 10 hours later after all the other characters join up, and you pretty much already have your party synergy figured out. So there is already one strike against him, but the next strike is that he pretty much just only specializes in healing. And this isn't exactly a hard game. I mean, items will just cover the job of healing 99% of the time, so you just don't kind of need a character dedicated just to that role. And if you do want a healing spell, it's so much more efficient to just put a Healing Light ability seed on somebody else. You know, somebody more useful. That being said, he is better than Karina simply because he has a unique specialization that can come in handy against different kind of mobs, like the undead, monsters that are weak to light, or whenever you need the ability to dispel buffs, or whenever you're fighting super bosses on harder difficulty levels over in the post-game. But those are some really unique, extenuating circumstances that just won't come up every day. So for general use, he's just going to sit on the sidelines with Karina and play his guitar. Coming in right in the middle is our hero, Val. I really do think it's kind of interesting that Val, he's the hero of the game, but he's not the best character in the game. Not by a long shot, he's just straight up average. But in Visions of Mana, your party mainly consists of magical casters, so the 2 dedicated physical fighters do simply shine just because there's not that many of them. Val acts as your tank to protect your other characters who are much more fragile than him, but the trade-off for this is that many of his classes utilize great swords, which do attack relatively slowly. However, the true power and true utility in him comes in the form of his saber magic. Just about every single one of his job classes gives you some sort of access to an elemental saber that you can then use to imbue his attacks with an elemental affinity, making quick work of both bosses and trash mobs alike. And since they are so cheap and easy to cast, you'll be using them constantly. Then, in his tank classes, he gets access to elemental shields, which do the exact same thing, except they protect your party from the opponent's spells, so Val is versatile enough to be included in every single party and definitely does deserve his role as the hero of the Mana Sword. In at number 2 is Morley. I love our little feline friend, and while Val's attacks are on the slower side, Morley is quick as well a cat. But unfortunately, he's also just as fragile as one, and what he lacks is defense, though he definitely makes up for speed, offense, and multiple hits. and once he joined up with the team, I ended up finding myself controlling him for the rest of the game and just kind of like letting the AI take over Val. He was just that good. And unlike some other characters, you can kind of like fool around with their classes and just kind of be lost, wondering what to do with them and experimenting with them, Morley makes it easy, because you should just stick him in his base Luna class for the vast majority of the game, only switching him out to Dryad once that does become available, and that's where he really begins to shine. Let me tell you why. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Offense is the name of the game here, and Luna's offensive capabilities are just off the charts. First with a 20% increase in critical hit rates, then a whopping 70% increase later on. Combine this with the Moon Energy spell, and Morley will be doing pretty much nothing but critical hits constantly. But again, like I said before, he is a bit fragile, and that's where the Dryad Samurai class comes into play. He'll still be an offensive powerhouse here though, because his passive straight up increases regular damage by 20%, while also increasing his class strike damage by 10%. And not only that, this class grants him a few abilities that greatly reduce the damage that he receives, while also giving him the extremely broken and overpowered Crystalline spell, which completely, 100% nullifies all the damage that he receives. I mean, he's already the most powerful melee class in the game, so why don't we just make him invincible to boot? And then up at number 1, our strongest Alm is Palomina, the Alm of Water. Finally, our little swimsuit princess. But she's no Mary Sue. She's a bitch on wheels and easily the best character in your party by far. Not only is she able to hit every single elemental weakness with her ridiculously powerful spells, but her base class has the Fluid Flourish ability, which allows her to recover half of her MP consumed in combat after winning, pretty much ensuring that she just never runs out of MP. Then, later on, she gets fast casting, and she just becomes like a one-woman killing machine. Now, whereas I recommended specializing all the other characters into like 1 or 2 classes, Palomina is different, because her elemental spells are all scattered about the different classes. Therefore, I would definitely want to spread her thin, and maybe only specialize in Undyne, and then Gnome later on to grab Ancient Curse for massive non-prohibitive damage, and Salamando for Adelantate, which boosts the entire party's physical and magical attack powers. Yeah, like I said, goodbye Karina. Palomina stomps all over you, and she stomps all over the enemies too. So I really hope that you enjoyed my ranking of the characters and also class recommendations in Vengeance of Mana. And if you did, here's a playlist of all the other top 10 lists that I've ever created. So please do be sure to check that one out. Leave a like and a comment here so we can all discuss the Elves of Mana. Check out my Patreon for some early access videos, and as always, have a good day. Which each and every one of them are good at. And I do think that that's worth a sub, as I do try my hardest to hit 100,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for that. Now let's start ranking. Ugh.